started working out.
How to make...
Like for us,
You
less
did?
like 2 weeks. It's badass.
I started swimming more consistently. I got every day last week I swam. So this week I'm...
That's fantastic. I've been working on trying to make sure that I at least get 10,000 steps a day.
Really?
So that's been
I
like
that.
my biggest thing because it's like...
I don't think I do
that's
that.
the easiest thing for me
Even
to
with
do.
my workout.
Oh, what I used to do is I used to walk around the couch. If I didn't get enough steps in the day, I would walk around the couch and watch Netflix. So I'd sit there and like the boys would walk in and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Getting my steps." And so I just walk around the couch. And of course the cats are all like, "What are you doing?"
That's true. I bet you're tripping them out.
Yeah, I guess I think they maybe think I'm nervous, and so they start to get kind of like antsy. Which I left my watch at home. It's charging, but. Yeah, I've been able to get, I think I got like 7,000 steps on Monday because I had 2 exams on Monday, so I'm surprised I even got that many. I didn't really want to move. Wow, Monday feels like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this has been a really long week.
That's true.
It's going to get worse.
I thought yesterday was Friday.
This is the weekend.
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, but I've been working towards trying to get like, that's my goal right now, is like I'm having such a hard time finding time to like exercise.
Yeah.
And so my goal is like, just move, just do something. Salt.
They looked at me when I asked for it. They're like, okay.
Yeah, for sure. Go for it.
They're like, all right.
So you got pink salt? No, I'll take that salt.
That's fine.
Colima salt is the one Ben Greenfield was using.
Colima salt?
Colima, it's like a Mexican salt.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but
I mean, they're going to have, it's like
it's
Celtic
just
sea salt.
as long as it had,
salt.
as long as it's got minerals and trace minerals and everything.
Yeah, but what you were saying about the, the trainers, like when one of our trainers came on, we were talking about gut health, and he's like, yeah, I was just learning about this, just learning about that. I'm like, yeah, we've been doing that for a while. Like talking about this gut being the second brain and everything else. I'm like, yeah, we've been there.
We've known that.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm like, I think we could go back like at least 3 or 4 years. Where we go back to
I think I was telling Eddie this when I got back from working on my own and training out of Move Fit Live, but like other trainers that I would work with and talk to, that you run into, they were like 3 or 4 years behind from where I was, and it's not any knock on them, it's just where they're at, right? But to know that I was like, man, like you guys still have some catching up to do in the sense of like just they're trying different things where I'm like, oh, okay, I've already tried that and done this, and their mentality about it all and everything.
I think that's, we get a bum rap for being like a Globo gym, but I think that's one of the perks because you're forced to learn more to keep up with everybody else. And then the other thing is you're learning more with everybody else because you're sharing the information.
Oh, it's so much.
You're not.
It's almost like it's definitely a friendly competition. It doesn't even feel like a competition. It's just, there's so much information being thrown around you that you're grasping it.
And that's why I wouldn't even think about competition because it's like it's a melding. Like literally everyone comes together. It's like, hey,
that's what it is.
Have you heard of this? Have you tried this? Have you eaten this? Have you had any reaction to this?
Exactly.
And you all go in your separate things. Like lately, Heather and I were talking about this morning, the mushroom thing for me. Like I started going down that road.
What did she say about that?
She was like, "Why don't any of you people like mushrooms?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I know why I don't like mushrooms, but I have no idea why Isaac doesn't like mushrooms." So that's an Isaac question.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I go down that road.
She won't say that to my face though. I'm just kidding. It's just a joke.
Why don't you like mushrooms? But yeah, it's like I'll go down this road, and then you go down a different road, but we all come back, we bring it together, and it's like, oh hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? And then you see the overlap. It's like, oh well, if you do this, and you do this, and you add this, it's like, boom, like the light bulb moment.
Yeah, it's connecting the dots.
Because it really is. We just cast a web out there, and everyone tries something different, and there's no competition. But when you're doing it on your own, you're competing because there's no feeder, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, Stephanie's got to get her clients, you got to get your clients, I got to get my clients, and there's no overlap.
Yeah.
Versus like, hey, this person's a better fit, this person's got a better personality for you, this person has this, they need this type of attention versus this type of attention, and it's a better community, which helps us.
Because ultimately, for there to be change with people to listen, they gotta think we care, or not think we care, but they gotta know we care, right? But for us to care, there has to be this connection.
Yeah.
And like it's easier, and it's a natural connection. You get along with that. That's why we say you're probably gonna get along more with this person. Connect you with the right person or team, environment, whatever it is that just fits your personality.
Exactly. And it takes the time. I mean, it really is like, I mean, pretty much kind of touching on that article that I was saying is patient-centered care. I mean, you really have to focus on what's going to be best for your client. What is going to be best for your client? I might not be the best thing for you. You might be a better option. You might be more nurturing. You might have more information based off of what they need, or, you know, for you, maybe they need someone who's going to be a little bit tough love. They need, you know, they might need you. And so it's different with working with different kinds of people.
Like
and
the deliveral, like the way it's
Exactly.
delivered, right?
Yeah.
Verbiage.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so important. I realize
Absolutely.
with people.
And that's important, exactly. It's understanding and being able to be humble enough and knowledgeable enough that it's okay to step away and let somebody else take care of this client. I mean, and know that they're in good hands and know that they're going to be taken care of better than what you can do. I think that's very important.
Yeah, but that goes back to competency and confidence, because and I've told this to people, and you guys have probably heard me say it, like, if I train you, I don't want to do your nutrition, I don't want to do your metabolics, I don't want to do any of that. I want somebody else to do it, because I want you to hear probably the same thing I'm going to say from somebody else. So if they're doing training with you, and they're doing metabolic conditioning with Isaac, and they're doing training with me, you have 3 different people saying the exact same thing, potentially massively different ways. One of those ways it sticks.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
so important.
That is so true.
But that goes back
And
to,
just the fact that people lose more weight as a group, like it just works better when you have a team. There's support. You got 3 people,
and you have
4
3
people,
you're
5.
dependent
Some
to,
people
unless
here
you're
have
in
how
some-
many people trainers?
Yeah.
5, 6. I mean, some people here have been here so long or trained so long with people. They're just essentially everybody's their trainer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what builds the web, and it becomes more like, think about Rick. I mean, have you met Rick Mark?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the nicest
Everyone
guy
knows
ever.
him. But he's been here long enough where he's literally met everyone.
Yeah.
Hasn't
And
trained
he's-
with anybody, probably.
Yeah, never trained with anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows who to go to ask questions about whatever, whether or not he takes your advice. Massively different. But he's been here forever, knows everybody, but that's exactly it. He's just confident, goes out, talks to everybody, and he'll validate your training just by walking by you. He's like, oh, this guy's been here forever.
That's
great trainer.
the best.
You know, it's like,
That is
always
the
smiling,
best.
always this, always that. Like, who picked that one thing? And it's like, thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
He is such a positive.
Yeah,
Just he
absolutely.
just spreads positivity, and it's awesome. Like, I always feel very good about myself, and he's like, keep doing what you're doing so good, or, you know, whatever he might say is just. I mean, some days you have bad days, and some days I'm like stressed out of my. Because today I'm literally, I don't know why, I'm afraid I might have a panic attack today.
Not the sauna.
And I need to actually.
Are
I
you
need to spend
drinking
some
water
time.
and everything? How are you doing with everything?
I have been. I don't know. I literally woke up this morning and I'm like, I
With
feel
salt
like
in there?
I have. No, I haven't. And I have pink salt at home.
What did you eat yesterday?
What did I eat yesterday?
Yeah, we just asked you 15 questions.
I know, right?
Sorry.
No,
Now
it's
that
a
you're
good
panicked,
question.
let's just start
What
throwing shit.
answers?
Yay! No, I woke up and I was just like, I'm anxious, and I don't know why.
What's
I have
wrong?
2 assignments due, and I have two assignments due this weekend. I originally had 3, but my teacher was like, I know you have an exam in her particular class on Tuesday. I'll move it back. That way you guys can study for the exam. I was like, whew. So I have 2 big assignments due this weekend, and then I have two back-to-back exams on Tuesday. I had 2 back-to-back exams on Monday, this past Monday,
Dang.
which I made a
I know,
95
right?
on
Like,
one of
I am
them.
starting to get anxious over here.
I know. It's just been a lot this past week. So, and I've honestly been relatively calm. Like I've been pretty good. I've been trying to drink more water because, like I said, I've told you guys before, I have a hard time drinking water. I don't know what it is. But I've been drinking more water. I've been drinking probably about 50 ounces every day, which is about double than what I usually do. So I'm working my way up there. But I don't know. I woke up this morning and I'm just like, I feel like I should be expecting something.
How was your sleep?
And I don't know. I slept great last night.
What time did you go to bed?
Oh, I started watching Altered Carbon.
Oh.
You guys started watching that show?
Should I
That
watch
show
it?
is freaking amazing.
It's on
oh my
Netflix.
God.
I saw it. It's
I
on
couldn't.
Netflix, yeah.
I couldn't stop watching it.
It just
last
came
night.
out. It's like on the.
It's really good.
As soon as you open Netflix, it's right there.
It's a brand new show. They just put it out, and it's okay. This is a complete side note, but it's an amazing show. Oh my God.
No spoilers.
I'm not gonna spoil anything. It really can't because I don't know what's going on. Like they don't tell you anything. It's just like that's why I have to keep watching. Cause I'm
Like
like,
thrown in.
and they like add something a little bit at the end of the episode, and I'm like,
What's like Dark? Did we talk about Dark?
I don't think so.
Dude, Dark. Like I watched the first 4 episodes of that. Katie's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "I'm watching Dark." She's like, "What's it about?" I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, why are you watching it? I gotta find out what it's about. It's
I
good.
want to know.
So it sounds
It's like
Wow.
a murder. Essentially, this guy. Okay, so this is like years in the future. They figured out how to upload our consciousness onto like these little discs, and so essentially you could never die. And so your consciousness is pretty much on like almost like a hard drive. And they have what's called sleeves, which are just like bodies that you can put your consciousness in. So if you die, you can essentially be put into another body. And so this guy is brought back, and it's like years in the future, and he's being brought back to like solve a murder for this guy who's been alive for like hundreds of years. And so it's crazy. And there's
Okay.
so
he's
much stuff.
experienced.
It's crazy. I mean, it is
I'm
insane.
gonna watch when I go home.
Yeah.
I started the
It's
first
Friday,
episode.
I'm done after this.
Yeah, I mean, because that's kind of was my relaxation yesterday. I was like, I turned in my article that I had to do. I did have to write a research article. Well, it's like a research article, but it's like a informative, kind of like the infographic that I did, but a little bit different. So I turned that in yesterday, and I was like, all right, I'm not touching my homework. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to relax. And so I started watching it, and me and my sister got like sucked in, and we were like, I think we watched 4 or 5 episodes last night, and we stayed up until like 12. And so I was like, I want to continue watching because I want to finish it because I'm just like, I need to know what's going on.
So
It's
I only
good.
bring that up because we just covered sleep
Yeah.
and growth hormone and melatonin are released between 10 and 2 at the highest. So that's probably why, as I assume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just woke up less, like you didn't get that great sleep mentally.
Maybe.
Because I've heard, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that the first 4 hours are mental recovery and the next 4 hours from 2 to 6, ideally, of course, the circadian rhythm, it's more physical. Now, it's probably a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
but...
I always thought it was backwards.
So it was,
Because-
okay, now it
because
could be that.
if you
I
go
may
to
have
sleep-
mixed them up.
Yeah, because I was under the impression that when you go to sleep, you're physically repairing yourself because you can survive if the body survives. The mind doesn't need to survive.
So the last 4 hours are for mental.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, I see.
That would make
but,
sense.
But yeah,
But I don't know.
just has to be sleep for it to be, because I mean,
I don't know,
ideally
like,
you've been doing everything pretty
I've been
good.
okay. I didn't eat like
Definitely
100%
add salt.
great yesterday.
Well, and that's
The
that's
more and
what
more we
I'm-
talk about that, every time we go to that PowerPoint, so we moved it up to week 3.
Yeah.
Because it's so crazy and
So
important.
impactful.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember what I ate yesterday. Oh my God. Okay, so yesterday was a weird day. I started the day with 2 Pop-Tarts, and I never do that. And I was so
We
hungry.
literally just talked about Pop-Tarts last week.
And they were disgusting.
Yeah.
But I was so hungry. And I got the s'mores Pop-Tarts, and I ate one of them, and I'm
Those
like,
are horrible.
they're so bad. And I ate one of them, and I was like, I feel like crap. So I ate the other one.
Yeah.
I was like...
Since I'm already here.
I was like, I bought it. I'm gonna eat it, but it's because like I was with one of the people in my cohort group, and we had a review in our first class just because our test for that class is on Tuesday, and so she went over a quick review. She's like, all right, guys, well, I'll let you out early. Go ahead and study. Use this time to study. Use this time to write your articles. Whatever you need to do. So I was like, well, I'm hungry. I didn't get a chance to eat because I was gonna be late. I woke up late. So I was already starting the day kind of weird. And so we were walking past, they have like these pods, and it's just nonsense food and maybe some like coffee and some other stuff. But it's like in every building.
Yeah.
And we're walking past it. I was like, okay, I just need to grab something. Like, I'm hungry. And they didn't have anything worth anything. So Pop-Tart honestly was like the best option out of what they had there. Except for like boiled eggs, but I have sensitivity to eggs. So I was like, definitely not starting
Or
the day.
fast.
Oh, I was getting a headache. I don't know I don't know. I think it's just because I was worried about getting everything done yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I was just hungry. I was hungry. I had a headache. I was like, okay, I need to start eating. I need to eat something or else it's going to be a really bad day. And so I just bought the Pop-Tarts. I ate them. I felt like crap. And then lunchtime came around, and I had finished most of my article. And then I went downstairs to the cafe, and they have these little like Asian stir fries that they have there. And I just got the vegetables and the chicken, and it was like teriyaki stir fry over rice. So that's what I ate for lunch. So that was not bad. It was good. It was a lot of food. Ate that, and then when I went home, had a couple oranges, drank a bunch of water, drank a lot of water because that stir fry was really, really salty.
I think we figured it out.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts, sodium,
Uh-huh.
lack of sleep.
And so yeah, I woke up today. I was just weird. Like I woke up this morning and I was like, ooh. I was like, why am I panicking? I was like, I'm panicking. I don't know. And then it made me freak out because I'm like, did I forget to turn something in? I was like, is my body trying to tell me that I forgot to turn something in?
So like before I started the whole working out like in the last 2 weeks, before that I really started the probiotics and like gut health because of anxiety and just trying to see if that helps. And I think it's definitely, because poop health is definitely getting better obviously, but like the whole working out, going into the workouts are just happening now. And I think it just started with nutrition, kind of the whole gut health and everything starting to.
Because it changed your whole mindset.
Yeah.
Food's on point. Your whole mindset is on point.
Yeah. I know. And yesterday was just a weird day. Honestly, this whole week was weird.
And I had actually, funny enough, so yeah, food being on point. One of my buddies, Mike, that I'm going to be in his wedding in April. We were on the phone yesterday. He's like, I stopped working out, and then my food went to crap because I was like, well, I'm not working out, so I might as well be eating bad. Yeah. And I was like, that's interesting. He's like, yeah, and I started eating better, and I feel like I should probably start working out too. Like, and it went hand in hand without even thinking about it. He's like,
that's true.
Just been eating better lately, and I just, I reactivated my gym membership, and I haven't been, but I've been eating better, so I want to go back and lift. So literally right along what you were saying, just changing the quality of what's going in changes the energy that's coming out.
Yeah.
What do you think about in terms of like the detox with my mindset change? Like my mindset changed, and I was like, all right, I can do this. And I was like, let's make this happen.
That's true.
And
that's
so
right.
it's crazy.
Which, it's interesting. The way this has happened is it always comes back to the mindset. It always comes back to like the changes.
It's like
and
habits.
That's what we've been talking about. Like, funny enough, when you think about talking to Eddie, mindset was, I'm going to win this. I'm dedicated to win this. It's my competitiveness. I mean, honestly, I think he said it's my competitive like 80 competitiveness like 80 times in that whole sit down. And then we talk about like the consistency of your habits and staying with your habits and everything else.
Absolutely.
And being the ready, willing, and able. And then you come to it again and it's like, this is my mindset. This is where I am. I decided to start doing these things.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's just where your brain is. Like the reason why people are successful versus not successful, just.
So I read that book. I finished it, Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, and it was while I was reading it was blowing my mind. And that was about a month ago when I started it, and that's when everything started changing, right? So I started first putting the probiotic in my bathroom. Little simple stuff we tell our clients. That stuff was easy. But it's habits, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden my vitamins and supplements and everything and getting spinach, extra spinach just on the side of every meal, snacking on spinach on purpose, like just these habits that started probably a month ago.
Yeah.
And then the exercise slowly started happening because now I have more energy. And here's the whole exercise thing was when I started working for myself, because I have this crazy schedule of go train this person here, then this way, and then go back at 6. Like this whole crazy back and forth. I stopped working out, and I got Aries, and I was working on my own or living on my own. So it was just like kind of like just hanging out. Nutrition was good, but just stopped exercising, and that habit set in. 3 years. It's crazy when I think about it. 3 years where I basically stopped exercising with weights and like hardcore, not hardcore, but resistance training, right? And so now what I had to do was ensure that I was fueled properly, like 3 hours or an hour before with shakes or whatever it was. But putting it in my schedule is huge, right? Seeing it in my schedule, because then I can't schedule anything before, after, around, And then putting the type of workout, all of a sudden these habits start to change. And I'm still working on it and building on them, right? But it was crazy. It's crazy. It's just habits, kind of like in the mindset,
Well, when you talk about scheduling, I think on Monday I did it. I don't know if we talked about it last week or not. We talked about making an appointment with yourself. Did we do that, or did I just do that on my own?
I've talked about it with you before, and I've talked about it with clients.
Yeah.
How it's,
But you make that appointment, and when you think about it, you have an appointment with somebody, you show up. 9 times out of 10, you show up, or you figure out, hey, I need to reschedule this. If you have the appointment with you, it's a ton easier for you to go and give up on yourself. And that's not what we want you to do. Mm-hmm. But the second that you lie to yourself, and it goes back to what we did talk about, if you have that doubt in your head that I'm not going to do this, start with the smaller things. So if you know, okay, I'm going to get up today and I'm going to go for a walk. Okay, well, what time am I going to go for a walk? Well, I have to go for a walk at 5 because I have all this stuff going on. So when the alarm goes off, you know that you have that appointment with yourself. You can't reschedule it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to call the doctor's office, maybe I can reschedule this. Call your trainer, maybe I can reschedule this. Call your, whatever,
Yeah.
maybe I can reschedule it. You know that's your schedule. You cannot reschedule it. So you're either going to cancel on yourself, which means it's okay to let yourself down, which it's not really okay, or you're going to get up and do it. Once you get up and do it, you feel better. And that's those memes, and you guys have all seen them. I regret this workout, said no one ever.
Yeah.
Okay, there are some workouts you're going to regret. But
Yeah, that's true.
Regret.
I know, that's the second word.
One of those days, yeah.
Your just mouth is dry, probably.
I'm going to go with that.
Nom.
But so I think we talked about it in the class, but my client, she is having issues wanting to work out and come to the gym. She loves it here. And she says when she comes here, she's like, I'm so glad I came.
Yeah.
However, for the last 25 years, she's been taking the same route home.
Yeah.
And habitually, her brain just goes straight as opposed to taking a left that she would only do for a year, occasionally, or 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So she's just like, I can't do it. Why am I not doing it? I know I want to, and I know this. And here's the mindset thing.
Yeah.
When she doesn't work out, she snacks. Because she goes home and she has time. She doesn't have anything to do. Everything's clean, right? She goes home, she has snacks because she's bored.
Yeah.
However, when she does go to Lifetime or she does see me, she's like she doesn't eat because she's no longer bored. She gets home, she has to cook, she has to clean, shower, whatever she has to do, and then go to bed, right? So I told her, take a different route home.
Yeah.
And she now has a different route to take home, which automatically brings her by Lifetime. But just that little switch in her routine is going to make her go to the gym. And she said it herself. She's like, you know what? If I do end up driving by Lifetime, I'll probably just go.
Yeah.
Because she always packs her bag. Her bag's always packed already. Her intention's there in the morning.
She's gotta get
It's
out of
just
the house.
that habitual, for those few seconds when she passes that light, she's not going to take the U-turn and deal with more traffic. She's going
Oh,
home.
definitely not, yeah.
Right? But it makes sense.
So, because we've gone through the mindset, we're going through the habits, and I know I've got
How do you
one.
identify?
Now, how do you identify
Okay.
we'll go with struggles that you have with your habits, because we were talking about mine.
Okay.
And the reason why I want to end with me is because I have something that's going to be impactful for
Okay.
other people, because I know it's going to happen to everybody.
Okay.
So what is the one habit, not necessarily that we need to break, so how do I want to phrase this? What is the worst habit that you have that offsets the rest of your day? As I was saying, so if
Perfect.
you don't make that left,
Oh,
you're going to
gotcha.
go home and this is your habit.
Mine is not having the proper fuel for the workout. Because when I get out of work at 3, I can get a workout and I can go home, relax for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then boom, I'm ready for a workout. But if I don't eat, because I know how important pre-workout nutrition is, and I'd rather fast post-workout because of the benefits hormonally and what it does, but I know that I'm not going to go into a workout, kick my butt when I haven't eaten anything already, right?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And the difference that some people have that I know I don't have is they're going to come in and do the workout because they think they have to. That's more stressful. That makes things worse than what they might leave the gym more stressed than they came in, right?
Yeah.
Even though they think it's stress relief, on a nervous system's level, it's more stressful. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So then I don't exercise,
Yeah.
right? So what I have to do is make sure that if I know my workout is at 4 o'clock in my schedule, that at 12 o'clock or at 1 or at 3 p.m., I either have food or a shake, right? And
Yeah.
now I'm pre-fueled for my exercise. And my mentality is, you're fueled, dude. You have no, and I know I'll do
No
it.
excuse.
I'll go for a run. It's a garage workout, a run, a hike, the sauna, or Lifetime. It's all in dashes. It's just
Yeah.
take a pick. And it's an hour and a half slot in my schedule. And I'm like, I know in my mind right now that it's done. I know this is gonna stick because it's that easy. Like after reading that book and after actually doing it with my clients, it's like, whoa, this is crazy how it's that simple. It's little habits that we talk about. We talk about with clients, we're gonna change your habits. And what do they want? Oh, give me how many macros and calories and meal, okay, go fail. It's just not gonna work. Yeah, that's my biggest thing. And because my biggest thing, I eat good, I fast, and the only thing I miss, and it's not that I want to just put 5 to 10 pounds of muscle on not for just the wedding, but just to put on, right? I'm gonna have a kid. like I want to have a baby, so why? I definitely want to increase my muscle mass. Just the benefits of all that, of course, right? So it's all of that, and I want to do karate 100%. Like still, that's my goal for this year. You guys know that, but I've had bad knees, and I don't want to embarrass myself going to karate class, and I'll be fine, but it's muscle soreness, right? It's the day after, 2 days later, when I go back to class, when I do the spinning back kick, that my leg lands in valgus and it pops, right? And there's my ACL again, right? Because I have the muscular imbalances that'll do that.
Yeah.
So again, I know not to do that. I have to break it up into smaller pieces. I have to strengthen my inner thighs and my tight quads and blah, 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 right? Before I can go into karate and feel comfortable with looking like a doofus because I just don't know what I'm doing. I'm cool with that. I'm not cool with hurting myself when I know I could have fixed it.
Yeah.
Because I have the capacity to change that. And those are the biggest things right there. It's really that. Financially, I have other issues, but I've already figured that out. I've created a spreadsheet, and I have all my income coming in on the month and the expense on the bottom, and the days 1 through 31. It's all mapped out and mapped like through Excel. It's super simple, nothing fancy, and it works. All my bills are paid. I'm getting out of debt. Like everything, I'm saving tons of money, paying up for saving for a wedding, and saving money. Like it's perfect. Dude, it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, okay. So I think the biggest thing that kind of sets me back, that if I have too much snacky food at home, like plantain chips, I don't know what they are. I think they make them with crack because they are ridiculously addictive. I can't put them down. Like, I will literally just eat them. Like, in my mind, I'm like, well, it's better than regular chips. But I'm like, no, it's got about the same amount of fat and everything else. They're still fried.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
but I mean, they taste good. And so if they're in the house, I'll eat them all. And other little things, like if there's any sweets in the house, it'll just be one of those things that it had been such a big habit from years ago. And I mean, I usually don't buy them or I don't have them, but if David happens to pick up like a candy bar, or if Shelby, my sister, if she has hot Cheetos in the house, I will snack on them because I just walk around the kitchen sometimes, and not just meaning to, it's in the middle of the house. You have to walk through the kitchen. Well, you don't have to, but most of the time you have to go through the kitchen to get to where I study, and it's like I study in the kitchen because I have no other place to study.
Yeah.
And so I'll get up in the middle of studying, and I'll go to the fridge, and I'll go to the pantry, and I'll go to the counter, and if there's stuff there, I'll eat it. Now, out of just boredom, because I don't want to study, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, and so I just walk through. So some of the things that I've changed is I always have little mandarin oranges at the house, always. And so for me, that's an easy thing to grab, and it takes forever to peel those stupid things. And so it'll keep my mind busy until I can go back to studying. Or I'll have nuts and cheese at the house all the time, and things like that. And I try to limit the amount of like plantain chips. Like I'll buy them every now and then, but they will be gone that day. I will eat them all. I don't put them down. I know that's a problem with me. I think they're delicious, and everybody else in the house likes them too. So sometimes it'll get bought, and I'm like, okay, it's not open. I'm not. I won't open them. Once I open them, they're gonna be gone. And so it's things like that. It's like snacky foods. But that's me that's me being a procrastinator, because I'm a huge procrastinator. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I've been really good this semester. I've been getting all of my assignments done.
See?
2
I think it's
days.
just boredom.
It is boredom. Yeah, I've been getting all of my
And I only
assignments
say
done
that
like 2
because
days
in
ahead
the
of
book
time.
they specifically used snacking as an example. So
That's
I'm like, oh, dude, there it is.
Biggest thing for me is snacking. And because it's easy to walk through the kitchen and be like, oh, hey, look, hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look, a whole unopened thing of plantain chips. I'm gonna open that.
So you get mandarins. That's one strategy. What else are you doing?
Mandarins, cheese and nuts. It's having different kinds of snacky foods that I feel
healthier,
better.
more fat.
Or I just
Don't spike your blood sugar.
don't buy anything like that. Or I buy specific things that I have to make. And if I have to make it, I'm like, yeah, no.
You're just gonna fast.
I'm just rather not eat. Or I'll just drink a bunch of water.
And
It's
you're fine, right?
yeah. And a lot of time, and that's the biggest thing
I love it.
is
I
making
love it.
sure for me is that, again, it's the water thing. And if I have my water bottle in front of me, I'll drink it. But if I don't have my water bottle in front of me, or if I don't have a cup of water in front of me, I'm not going to get up and go get water. Unless I'm really thirsty, like I was all day yesterday. Unless I'm really thirsty.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not actively thirsty, I don't think about drinking water.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
just
true.
a thing that I do.
That's very true. I'm the same way.
And so if it's in front of me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I won't get up. I won't get up and walk around and go do that. It's just in front of me, and I'll drink the water, and I'll drink a whole bunch of it. And then I'm like, okay, am I satisfied, or am I actually hungry? And so that's something that I constantly have to remind myself.
I love it.
Am I just thirsty?
Yeah.
And am I thinking that it's hunger? Because a lot of times those seem very similar in terms of thirst and in terms of hunger. Or not necessarily hunger, but like appetite. Like having the ability to want to eat something, but not necessarily being hungry. And sometimes you get those confused. And I know that's been something that I've had a hard time for a long time. Confusing the two, where I go snack and I'm like, I'm not satisfied. And then I'll drink a whole cup of water and I'm like, oh, that's what it was. And so I know. And so that's some of the hardest things for me is getting bored. And so honestly, all of last weekend, because I had the 2 exams and I had 3 assignments due last weekend, I wasn't at the house at all last weekend. All of Friday.
And you didn't snack.
And I didn't snack.
You just weren't home.
Because I wasn't home. And so I was at the coffee house. I was at the coffee house all day, pretty much after recording on Friday here. I went home, ate lunch, fiddle-farted around for like a couple minutes. I was like, okay, I've got to go to the coffee house because I have to get this assignment done because it is due today. And it was just a crazy long assignment. And so I stayed at the coffee house for like 6 or 7 hours. And I got tea. I usually will get tea there just because I like the tea. And I'll usually get, if I get hungry, they have this grass-fed yogurt. It's delicious. It's awesome. And you get granola, they'll give you granola with it. And I'll do that if I get snacky, or they have like a protein box, which is like cheese, sausage, nuts, and a turmeric pickled egg. I don't like it. It's gross. I wasn't a fan. But it's got, I'll do like the little snacky foods if I get hungry. But a lot of times I'm so focused on studying and I don't have the ability to go wander because I look like I'd be crazy. I don't feel like I need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's nice. And so this weekend I'm probably going to do about the same because I've got the 2 assignments and then I need to study for those 2 exams. I probably won't spend very much time home this weekend just because if I'm at home I get distracted because my sister's there now. So then she's got the puppy. Steve just got fixed on Tuesday, so he's in the cone and I feel horrible. Poor baby. I have lots of pictures. We can put a picture up of little baby Steve in his cone, which he's not a baby anymore. He's huge. He is almost 8 pounds now. He's 5 months old. He is gigantic. And even my sister was like, his paws, like his feet are like rabbit feet. Like they're huge. Like he has these massive, massive paws, massive legs. And I'm just like, he's only 5 months old. He's almost 8 pounds. I'm like, he's going to be bigger than Jax. And Jax is a big cat.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy cow. But anyway, side note. So I get distracted.
Yeah.
I get distracted and then I get bored. Then I wander around and I go watch TV. And then I go play with the cats. Or I go play with Mia, the puppy. Or I go talk to my sister, or I go see what David's doing. And so it's just easier not to be in the house. And then that saves me from snacking.
Yeah, that's awesome. So basically, like, just whenever it comes time to study, just get out of the house.
I can't be in the house.
Yeah.
And that's something that I figured
Change the
out a long time
environment.
ago, yeah.
Which is true because same thing with I'm saying her name. I'm saying her name. My client, right? It's the same route home triggers to alter that mindless response of. Before you brush your teeth, you have to pop open the brush, toothpaste cap, and then put it on. Right? We don't think of that, but it happens. And it's still the same
It's just
thing.
a natural,
Yeah.
mindless. I mean, when you're driving, you take the same route all the time. You get home and it's like, I don't remember getting home. Well, it's just because it's mindless. It's you do it so often that it's just you don't think about it, and that's really what it should come to. Eventually, your habits should be something you don't think about. My multivitamins are on the counter in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Either right in front of my toothbrush or right in front of my face lotion because I always wash my face before I go to bed, so it's right next to my face lotion. So when I go to grab my face lotion, I'm like, oh, multivitamin.
There it is.
So there's my multivitamin, there's my fish oil, and anything else I need to take because I'm taking a CalMag right now because I did the assignment that I had to do last Friday. We use a program called NutriBase, which will go through and give you your nutrient breakdowns for everything that you've eaten. I had to add the multivitamin in there, but it broke down everything. And plus I was on the detox when I was doing it as well, just how high all of my vitamin intake was, but calcium was like crazy low. Even with, the healthy foods I was eating with the multivitamin, I'm like, oh. So I went and got myself a CalMag because I was like, oh, go ahead and I'll take that because my magnesium was low too. And so that was nice to kind of see, like, okay, cool. So now I added a calcium supplement in there too. And But that was kind of neat to kind of see that nutrient breakdown and be like, man, I'm hitting all my points, but calcium, like I'm not even at 50%. Like this is upsetting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And so it was
Well,
kind
there
of
you
cool.
go. You can snack on cheese.
I know, I do snack on cheese. Well, at that point I couldn't because I wasn't.
Oh, you're on
I was
the
on the detox.
That makes
So
sense.
now, I mean,
Oh, that's
honestly,
true.
I feel like my calcium intake will be a little higher just because I am eating cheese again, which I don't feel bad. I think the thing that I felt the worst was that David was looking forward to me being off the detox, and these little Canadian snacks that he has been like dying for me to try. It's an egg. It's a Kinder egg, I think is what he called it. I don't know what it's called, but it has a little toy, and it's like a really tiny amount. It's not a big serving of like it's like a little, almost like a Ferrero Rocher. It's got a little nut in there, and then it's got some like wafer, and then a little bit of chocolate around it. So it's not very big. But then you get a little toy with it, so it's kind of exciting. So whatever. But he was like, "It's so exciting! It's so cool! Like I've never seen these in America." And he's like, "I grew up with these in Canada."
That's cool, yeah.
So he was really excited. So, but I did feel awful. Like not awful, but I just didn't feel great after eating it. So like the sugars and stuff is definitely after doing the detox and then bringing that in, being like, okay, this is a good reason to when I get sugar cravings to be like, that's gonna make you feel awful. Like don't do it.
Which I think, I know I've talked about with clients and stuff, like the day after you get over being sick, like you feel amazing, and you're like, God, I never want to be sick again. And that's why, like, we talk about the detox and doing it frequently. What you felt, like, in 3 months when you go to do something like that, like, we'll all have a bad day, and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as I remember last time I did something like this. It's because that buildup happens, and then that's usually when it's time.
Yep.
All right, Tony, what are yours?
So mine, like, we've talked about it before, we talked about it, like, on here, and I know I come in, if I sit down on the couch, my day is over. It's just...
Oh, that's right.
That's it. You get sucked into the couch.
And but what I've started noticing is if I sit down at the table, I'll make food and I'll eat, which isn't bad, but I start doing work. So what I've found to be the most helpful is I'll come in, and this is where I think it's going to help anyone watching. What I'll do is I'll come in, I'll put all my stuff down, and then I'll start prepping food for tomorrow, and I'll start taking all my stuff out, getting all my vitamins and stuff laid out, getting everything I need laid out, doing the dishes and everything else. Now the problem is, because it's such a different habit, like it doesn't bother me at all. It's not something I forget to do.
Yeah.
I walk in, just start doing it and get to it. It freaks Katie out. Because she's like, what's going on?
Are you okay?
Yeah, well, are you okay?
Oh, I know what
Yeah.
you're doing.
You're being
That's
standoffish.
funny,
I'm like,
dude.
I'm not being standoffish. I'm like, shit's got to get done. So I'm like, I'm just going through and like, I've got
You're so
pans
right.
going.
That's so
But
funny.
this is
Yes.
this is where people will fail, not because they're doing something wrong, but because that one habit is a huge change. Because normally it is like I'll come down, I'll sit, I'll have food, and I'll start doing my work, or I'll come in, I'll sit on the couch, and I'll start watching TV, or playing with the dogs or whatever else. And there's a pattern that I would have followed. Now I took that pattern and I just gone.
Yes.
Because even though it's
absolutely.
not hard for me to stick to, because it was just a change in, okay, I'm going to get these things done. I'm just shifting priorities.
Yeah.
These are things I would have wanted to get done, but now I'm doing them after my work. Now I'm just doing them before, get that done, then I'll sit down and do all my work. Then I'll just go to the couch, watch TV, do whatever else.
Yeah.
End the day with the stuff, and then that way when you sit down, what does it matter?
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense from a habit
Yeah.
standpoint, but that social interaction, the interactions in the house, Ava doesn't notice it because I'll be talking to her while I'm doing whatever, and I'm making her food for tomorrow, I'm making her lunch, or whatever else. I'm just getting it out of the way as soon as I walk in, versus getting in there and going, okay, we'll do it in a little bit. All right, I'll just finish doing this real quick. All right, I gotta send like 2 more emails. Oh, I gotta send a text message back to this person. So now the food's cooking, and I'm sending text messages back, or I'm posting stuff on Instagram or whatever else I have to do.
Absolutely, man.
But I
That's
changed
cool.
it, and I noticed, because I was doing it, I did it like 3 times in a row now, and Katie's like, well, you seem really like standoffish, you seem like, I'm like, just cooking food.
Just in the zone.
Yeah, and it's I'm doing the
You're
dishes.
doing like 4
doing
things
this.
at once.
Yeah, so I'm doing all the things that need to get done to save time later, but because it's such a different habit, such a different pattern, such a different structure, it's like,
Are you okay?
what's wrong with you? Like, is everything okay? Is there anything going on? Like, something happened? No. Like, it's got to get done.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it, and I'm doing it here. Like, I got all this stuff going on, and the way the kitchen's set up is actually like, I got some behind. There's an island almost to go into the kitchen, but it's almost like a barricade, so it separates the kitchen from like the dining area.
Okay.
So there's one opening about this big, and she'll stand there, and it's like, you're in my way. Like, why are you just
Why are you standing there?
There. Well, but you seem like I'm trying to get to the cabinet and stuff because all of our like supplements are here. So I'm like kind of like guiding her out of the way.
I do that, yeah.
So I'm literally moving her out of my space, but it's like, well, but you know, you're being all weird and like, I'm like, no, I'm just being focused. Like it's a big
I just want to get
difference.
this done. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think other people would go through that, and depending on where they are in their journey, they would back down from that because it's inconveniencing the people around them. Kind of like the lady had asked, how do you change your life without inconveniencing everybody? And at some point, well, technically I'm not inconveniencing anybody because now dinner's made, breakfast is made, lunch is made for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I've actually increased the convenience in your life by doing all these things. So this moment is just awkward.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not normal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not normal
and I
for
saw
you.
where you were going with that. Yeah, absolutely. But they should. I had a conversation with Heather.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, I really want to start exercising. These are the reasons. So like when I come home, like this is the time slot that I'm going to work out.
Mhm.
And she was like, cool.
Yeah.
As opposed to like me just saying, showing because I'm not at the house just there like cleaning or starting. I'd actually leave and she'd be like, whoa, where are you going? Like,
Yeah.
that would be weird. So I was like, hey, I want to go work out at this time. Like, this is what I want to do. And so some people, you might have to have that conversation with your family or significant other about not buying snacks, if that's what it is, or if it's working out. Or
I've had to
making
have that
time.
conversation. Like David does not. Nobody in the house except for me has issues with snacks. Well, not necessarily snacks. I mean like sweets.
Yeah.
But David, for a while there, would buy pastries, and he would buy me one too. And I'm like, stop it,
Yeah.
because if I get back into the habit of having a pastry every day, I'm going to need a pastry every day, and I don't want that.
And he was doing it because
Because it was just
being
he had
nice.
to go
Yeah.
to HEB and he'd pick himself
I'm
up a
not gonna just
pastry.
get one, not get her
Yeah.
one. It's
Exactly.
rude.
And so, but it was a thoughtful thing, and so I told him, I'm like, stop buying pastries. So
But
when we go to
it's-
HEB,
yeah.
I'm like, do not walk over those pastries. I'm
Yeah.
like, stop it. Because I know you're going to pick one up, and you're just a very
But-
kind and loving
but-
individual,
but
and you'll buy me one too.
And that's
Stop
a
it.
habit on just a natural habit on him because he's a very kind and
He is
boyfriend,
giving, that's what he
girlfriend.
does.
Naturally, he's like, I'm gonna get two.
Yeah.
Like same thing. You get two. I always get two for like it's
Yeah.
natural.
It's just you do that.
It's
you
a
don't
mindless
walk in
habit.
anywhere. Like, cause think about it.
It's
and
a
we've all
mind. There's
been
so many mindless habits everywhere. Where we put our stuff in our
Mhm.
stuff. Where we
Mm-hmm.
put that. Like all this. They're all habits for sure.
Exactly, and
So
that's true.
cool.
And it was just a thing that I had to have a conversation with him, and I'm like, stop, please.
Yeah.
Like, if you are going to get one, great. Buy one for you.
And it
if
always
you
works
want
out
it.
in the end.
I'm like, but I don't need it. I don't need it because I actually have an issue. I said it's been something that I have been combating for years. That if I start incorporating that sugar back into my life, my body feels like it
Yeah.
needs it. Like I've never quite gotten rid of the you don't need
Yeah.
it, or feeling. But if I don't eat it, and I go long enough without eating, my body's like meh, whatever.
Yeah.
But if I start having it every day, once every now and then is not a big deal. Like my sister made lemon bars.
Absolutely, nothing wrong with that.
You know.
Heather made some lemon
Oh.
bars.
And they were so good. They were so bad for you, but they were so good. But it was nice because
Heather.
it was a one-time thing, and I was like, whatever. I had
Yeah.
a few of them, but I don't feel like I need it because I wasn't having them every day.
Yeah.
But when it happens all the time, my body's like, oh, we're going back to that habit, the easy habit of always having this fast energy and not having to burn fat. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to that. And so it was just a matter of having that conversation of, look, I know why you're doing it, and I love you. I think you're an amazing and wonderful individual, but it is putting me in a bad situation. So please don't.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it. I just thought I would get it, and it made you happy. So great. I said, it
Yeah.
does. It makes me very happy. But stop
And
it.
it's a twofold habit to break because one, I'm doing this because I care about you, so I want to go out and get this. I'm getting one, so I want you to enjoy what I'm enjoying. But two, now that I've brought you something, you have to use it or consume it in some way, shape, or form because I went out of my way to bring this to you. So you had that guilt of like, oh, well, you brought it
have to eat
home,
it.
I have to eat it. And then you feel twice as guilty because you're like, I didn't really want that,
So
but now I'm
funny
eating
how
it.
we work.
But it's
That's so true.
it's our upbringing because you never go anywhere empty-handed,
Yeah.
And we've all been in that situation too where you bring something home and you're not thinking about it and maybe you do grab one. And it's like, well, why didn't you give me one? Well, because I didn't think you wanted one and I thought you were still
And
at work.
it's that guilty thing
Yeah.
of like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't
Yeah.
think that you would want one. I mean,
So
because he's
then
done
just-
that too, where he's like gone out and he's gotten food, and I come home and I'm like, okay, let's go get food. He's like, oh, I already ate.
Mhm.
I'm like, what did you eat? And then it's just kind of like that. What does it matter? Because I can go get food on my own.
Yeah.
But it was that thing like, but but I wanted. I didn't tell you that I wanted, so it's not your fault. But I wanted.
You're
to
like,
have
I
dinner
waited till I got
together.
home
Yeah.
because maybe we could eat together.
Yeah.
And you ate, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then in that last section of the book, it's that appendix, but he talks about identifying habits. So anytime you get that urge of what you're trying to fix or something, right, like a snack or like me, the exercise, right? But he uses a snack as a perfect example. You ask yourself, and so you can do this with anything, you ask yourself 4 questions. And the questions are, what time is it? Who are you with? Where are you? And what's your emotional state? Right? So when you get that urge, you answer those 4 questions, and you do that for 4 or 5 days, right? And after those 4 or 5 days, you look at the data, and you're going to find some patterns and some trends that either you're in the kitchen, or it's 3:41, or you're always with your cousin or a specific coworker, right? So then you're like, that's the reason, that's the cue, and that's the habit loop, and I end up snacking, right? Or whatever it is that happens, right? And the reward is the satisfaction, right? So then what we do is we find the alternative, whether it's take a walk around the couch, right? Watch TV, watch a video on Facebook, or take a walk outside, right? Whatever it is, or what he described in the book was, it's just, what it really was boredom. And he just wanted a moment of distraction, so he would distract himself with whatever solutions and techniques he came up with. And eventually you just stick with, you'll practice that habit, right? And it might take a few days, and it might take a few weeks, depending on how easy or hard or complex it is for you. But it makes perfect sense when we break it up like that. And I'm like, whoa, you can just ask questions, and then when you're talking about like your solutions to what you could possibly do, like just write down the words that have come into mind, and then from there kind of use those words to identify your solutions. Because the words you think of at that time may be what you're like looking for, like socialization, or distraction, or hunger. It could really be hunger, right? And it's like, okay, well, why do I have snacks, bad snacks, and it's just, it helps you kind of identify what it is. And when I looked at it like that, I was like, okay, so there's my issue, my energy, there's my mindset behind that, and it kind of really helped me break it up. It's crazy. This is such a good book. It's such a good book. I sent it to 3 clients. I was like,
That's
hey,
awesome.
you guys need to read this, because this is what you're having trouble with. Because
There is I remember because I'm going through the Precision Nutrition, the online coaching for myself, just to kind of see how it progresses and everything like that. There was one particular lesson towards the beginning that gives you the sheet that you can print, which is the exact same, similar in terms of
Yes.
like binge eating.
Yes.
And it tells you, like, if you have an episode, immediately sit down and write down
Absolutely.
what happens. Or, if you have that
I
issue.
have them all saved. I'm pretty sure I can pull it up. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
And it's a great tool. But it is a great tool. It's a good thing to sit and think, because when it came down to my snacking, I did have to stop and think and be like, all right, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
There was something you said that you hit it perfectly. Like, I mean, you ask yourself the question,
Yeah.
am I bored?
Yeah.
Right? Or what's, like, am I just...
Am I bored? Am I
Yeah.
thirsty? Because I know what my triggers are
Yeah.
for why I'm going to snack. I'm either bored, I'm thirsty, I am actually hungry, and it's been too long since I've eaten.
Yeah.
Or I am being a procrastinator, or I'm procrastinating, which is also a little ties into the boredom, but it's usually I'm procrastinating from doing my homework, or I'm procrastinating from getting dishes done, or I'm procrastinating from cleaning the house, whatever it might be. But those are all reasons that tie back into me going and wandering into the kitchen
Yes.
and meandering and snacking and being unsatisfied with what I'm snacking on, and then I continue snacking because I'm still unsatisfied, and then it's just this constant loop, and then I eventually sit on the couch and I'm like, I'm freaking full. Why am I so full?
Yeah.
And it's like, I was bored, or I was procrastinating, or should have just drank a big cup of water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bunch of stuff like that.
What I'd be interested in, and we talked about this last week with you take a bite out of something and you don't like it, so you just spit it out versus swallowing it. What I would, as gross as it is, I'd be interested to see, like, if you did that, like, let's say you just took a bite of, like, cheese, and, like, that's not what was hitting the spot, and you're just kind of like,
Force yourself to eat it?
No. Spit it out versus forcing yourself. But versus just going through it, be like, well, it's in my hand. Let me just go ahead.
I
That's
usually just spit it
yeah.
out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because I'm wondering, because the action. I mean, spitting food out is like a gross thing. Like, even watching it or doing it, you're kind of like,
Yeah, you're right.
So I'd be curious to see if that would also break that pattern right then and there.
Like if I catch it and if I notice
Oh,
like
Yeah.
on purpose.
Like, this
is not
initiate the process
satisfying.
and going.
Yeah, so because
Even if it's good.
Yeah, no. So you grabbed it, and let's say, because one of the things you had said was like sometimes it's not what you're looking
It's
for,
not satisfying.
but it's in your mouth, so
Okay.
you're not satisfied by it. So how? And
Yeah.
just do it, because I mean that's like, and then God forbid, like David or Rode or anyone in the house sees it, they'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, they would be like, is it bad?
Yeah,
Like, is the
and-
food
'cause
bad?
That could be
Yes,
the,
it is. Don't eat it.
the interruption in the thought process of just here I'm doing it and then I spit it out, and then you're like, well, I didn't want that anyhow, and then now your brain is on to what do I really
Oh,
want
okay, now let
versus
me actually-
Dude, I was even thinking, even if it's healthy and you
Yeah.
shouldn't, like, if it's just a snack that you should know you shouldn't be eating because you know you just had
Yeah.
food 2 hours ago, you're gonna have food in an hour.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I didn't even think about
you
that,
know,
yeah.
like, just go and be like, you know what? Because just the taste in your mouth might quench it, right?
Yeah.
Just simply smelling it near your nose might quench it. Like Ray Cronies talked about when he got hungry, he'd just go in the cafe and sit on the couch or in the chair and just smell the food in the air and then leave after 20 minutes, and then he was satisfied. Because the hormone, I mean, we do a lot of our tasting and stuff,
Yeah.
or smell, and he talked about it. But I was like, whoa, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even that, like,
Because I mean, how often have you been there? You put something in your mouth, like you put a snack in your mouth.
You're like,
this isn't really what I wanted.
Like
and
the
you just keep
Pop-Tarts.
going.
The Pop-Tarts
Yeah.
was like, it
But-
was literally, I was so hungry, but I was like, this is so but I kept eating them. I ate all of them,
Yes.
or I ate 2 of them.
yes.
The,
Because the
little
habit
pouch.
means don't waste food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was like, well, I just
so
bought
there's
it.
the habit, right? So to break the habit, the different habit loop is not to eat it, is to spit it out. That's why I think it'll work.
Yeah.
Because now you're spitting it out. The new habit loop is now changed completely. Your brain's like, whoa, you spit
Yeah.
this out?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't really want this. We don't really like this. We're never going to get Pop-Tarts again.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So
Yeah.
anytime someone's eating and their reason, this is for us future with any coaching clients, if their reason, and people listening,
Yeah.
right, if your reason is, what was it? What was your reason right now? I just lost my train.
Not
of thought.
satisfying.
Oh, my
It's
was not satisfying.
Not
Yeah.
satisfying, then just spit it out right then and there, just to break, because your bad habit is, I need to just finish what I started, right? I can't let this go to waste. It's wasting your body. It's killing you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's not satisfying. It's bad for you. You know, like whatever. It's just spit it out, break the routine, and boom.
But I mean, that makes complete sense going back to me feeling like utter trash this morning. Not trash, just anxious. I was so and I feel fine now.
Yeah.
I drank the little Emerald Energy shake, and I feel okay. And
Yeah,
I had some nuts and cheese this morning just to kind of have a
all
little
those
bit of
flavonoids and everything.
I just had a little something. So, but I've calmed down.
And even then, the stir fry was veggies.
And the stir fry had
It was
vegetables.
just the Pop-Tarts that had sugar.
I think it really was just
And we
starting
know
my
what sugar
day.
does with anxiety. Now that we
Yeah.
think about sugar and anxiety and all that. So yeah.
Like I literally started my day
Whoa.
with like a boatload of sugar.
Sort of, and it's not nutrition. People think, oh, I don't eat Pop-Tarts, but no, you could literally just break your habit of finishing your food, and that might fix your whole eating breakfast or whatever, and now you can eat something else or fast. And
I think
now
one of the things,
there's
because you
plenty
mentioned
of other
breakfast,
options.
but it's like everybody, I talk to so many people, and it's just like it's a mindset thing in terms of talking about the mindsets, is that for breakfast you have to have breakfast foods. You can't have a salad in the morning.
That's
Who
true.
eats a salad in the morning?
That's true.
You can have anything in the morning.
You can have anything anytime,
Like
right?
there's times that like I've made like steak and veggies or whatever the night before, and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat that for breakfast. Just because it's there, it's fine. But food is food. But it's like people wake up and they're like, I have to have eggs. I have to have my tacos.
Yes.
I have to have my coffee.
Yeah.
I have to have this. And
Just
it's like,
habits.
it's
Just habits.
just what we've literally grown
Just
up
habits.
thinking, that you have to eat breakfast foods in the morning.
And that's so funny.
It's
You
just
mentioned the
habit.
first show that I ever did. I had my day started. It's always started early when I started training. I was eating I want to say it was like 8:30. I was eating my second meal of the day because your day starts stupid early. And I had chicken and rice. And some guys like, you would eat chicken for breakfast. I'm like, well, you wouldn't think twice about eating pizza for breakfast. You wouldn't think twice about having pancakes for dinner. So
Yeah.
why is it that weird?
I
them
used to
having
think
chicken?
twice for having both of those
Really?
exact examples. Yeah. Absolutely.
Screw that.
Well, I've never had breakfast, so I thought everything for breakfast is weird. Eggs and everything.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then breakfast for dinner, when people talk, I'm like, no, that's just breakfast food.
Yeah.
Why would y'all have
Yeah.
that for
Why
dinner?
would you do that?
But now, living with Heather, we have breakfast for dinner sometimes. I love it.
Yeah,
dude.
everyone
I
loves
love
breakfast.
it, man.
Everyone
I was like,
loves
what was
breakfast.
I thinking?
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is so amazing.
But it goes back to we can have food anytime.
You can have food
Yeah.
at any time. Like you can have breakfast. Like you
And I
said.
have the pancakes for dinner.
Yeah.
We have those protein powder pancakes with extra protein powder.
I make those in
Boom.
the waffles.
Mm-hmm.
Throw
40
some.
grams of protein.
Yeah,
It's
make
like,
those in the waffles. A little
so
bit of
perfect.
the like fat-free.
Yep.
What's that called?
Yep.
Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Not Cool Whip.
Ready?
The Ready Whip. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one in the can.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The put a little bit on there so there's strawberries
damn,
on
I
there.
swear.
Woo!
Swear.
Throw some strawberries on that. Oh, it's
Mhm.
good. I don't have to use syrup.
And it's got protein.
It's delicious.
Look at that.
Yeah.
But it's just habits,
It's
right?
just changing the mindset of anything.
Mindset of habits, getting their mind wrapped around that it simply is.
That it's
just-
okay that if you don't
Yeah.
want to have if you can't have, because one of my clients, his food sensitivity is eggs, and he's like, I eat eggs all the
What do I
time.
do?
He's like he's like I love eggs. He's like I have eggs for breakfast. I have eggs as my snack, as boiled
Gosh.
eggs. He's like I eat eggs all the
What
time.
number was it on there?
I think it was a 2. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was a 2.
That's funny.
But eggs for me was a 2, and I told him, I was like, I feel you. I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I said, because for me, eggs was like a huge source of protein for me. Like, I went to I had eggs every morning. I'd have eggs in my waffles. I'd have eggs in my salad. So, like, I'd have eggs all day. Like, I'd have eggs in something all day. And so for me, eggs being the highest food sensitivity for me, I was like, oh, okay, I'm eating way too many eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it makes sense on why I'm so gosh darn bloated all the time. I said it's weird. I said it's tough and it's hard to kind of break the habit of that being almost your protein source. I said, but I switched over to shakes in the morning or a fast if I don't eat.
Yeah.
If I have time, I have smoothie bags at home in my freezer with a handful of kale and a cup of various different fruits, and they're all in there. I grab it, throw it in my blender, and easy, super easy in the morning. I don't have to take any time.
So easy.
And so shakes in the morning instead. Or, I mean, you can have a salad. I've had salads in the morning with some like leftover chicken that we had for dinner. And it was weird at first because I'm like, this is super fresh in the morning. This is very strange. But it's
What did it do
satisfying.
for the rest of your day, though? Did you eat healthy the rest of that day?
Every time I start my day good, the rest of my day goes well.
Back to habits, right?
Because it's like I already
change up
started
your
my
whole
day.
mindset. You're like, well, I already started healthy.
Yeah, we go back to Thursday
It's like
yesterday.
that Navy SEAL who says start off your day with making your bed. Because if you start off with one successful thing, you're more than likely going to do another.
That's exactly
so
right.
if you feel that breakfast is the successful thing for you, then definitely make sure that we're successful,
Exactly.
right? Same thing with me. I need to make my bed in the morning. Because when Heather makes the bed in the morning, I come home for like lunch, the bed's made, I'm like, whoa, that's cool.
It's nice.
So I need to
David will make the bed, and I walk in the room, and I'm like, oh.
You know what'll make me feel successful in the morning? Getting early to work 15 minutes. 15 minutes early to work. I had trouble saying that, sorry. Getting 15 minutes early to
It's
work.
one of those days.
Yeah. I would love to set that as a new habit moving forward. Or, that with walking the dogs in the morning with just a 10-minute little walk.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I could walk the dogs in the morning when it's cold, especially if it's cold, but regardless, again, starting feeling successful, man.
Start the day with a good habit.
Yeah.
And it's like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I ate horribly for breakfast, so I'm just going to do whatever for lunch. But that's a habit. I already messed up, so I'll start tomorrow.
Real quick, what would you feel successful in the morning with?
For me, and this is what I've started doing, but I have to modify the habit.
Okay.
Getting up and not hitting snooze, so that I can get.
Oh, dude,
my
I got
gosh.
it. All right, challenge.
Okay.
Challenge. I challenge you to eat healthy for breakfast. Whether it's a fast, a shake, whatever it is, right?
Whatever it is.
And I will challenge myself to get here on work 15 minutes early, right? And you not to fast your alarm.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Ooh.
No snoozing.
I like
One
it.
week, we'll check in.
Let's try it.
We'll let everybody know how we do.
Yeah.
Right? We'll keep each other accountable, but let's do it.
Me and my sister are about to go to the grocery store, like right now. We're going right after this.
Easy.
I
Yeah.
just
Her
got
and
to
I
set
drove
my
here.
alarm earlier, and I'll do it. 4:45 instead of 5.
Yeah.
And I actually remember I've always said that, I actually wake up better when I wake up around 4:30 to 4:45 because of the sleep cycle that I tend to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well, and if I wake up at 4:45, I'll definitely have enough time. 'Cause there's times I wake up at 5:20, 5:25 and get here to work exactly when I need to, right? If I have 30 more minutes, I
Should
can
be early.
take my dogs for a 30-minute walk in the morning,
Yeah.
right? I could,
That'd be
you know,
awesome.
I could take my time. You know, I have clients who have coffee in the morning, right?
Yeah.
They wake up and they're like, right? Well, don't put creamer in your coffee, damn it. But, but you know, but there's still, I can see the psychological, I love that they do that. Just don't put creamer in your coffee. Do a black tea, a chai tea, right?
I do teas.
Other options.
I drink I mean,
I
oh
know
my
you're
gosh.
a big tea person.
I love
so
tea.
wanna-
I have a huge, I hate coffee. We all know this. I hate coffee.
Good.
But I love teas. But I mean, that was hard for me to kind of stop drinking tea during the detox because I couldn't go to the coffee house because I'm like, I'm going to drink tea if I go there. And so the couple times that I went, I got an herbal tea because herbal teas don't have caffeine. But that's just not satisfying because I love black tea, I love oolong tea, I love green tea, I love white teas. Just the flavors and the different combinations, it's beautiful. Like, I know that sounds so stupid and I'm so sorry.
No,
But it's just
there's
the
an
flavors
aromatherapy to that
are
as well,
stunning.
right?
That the
'Cause there's a
different, you get
smell
good
to that.
teas. And we have we have an Egyptian chamomile tea with just a tiny bit of honey and like a little bit of rock sugar. And oh my gosh, I mean, it's stunning. Like, I really can't explain. Just the flavors are wonderful. With the mint teas, when I get really bad sinuses, I'll do a mint green tea, and it feels very good. It makes me feel good. And I don't know, I feel like after drinking tea, just in general, I feel very good.
Which of the herbal teas do you really like?
I'm not the I'm not the biggest fan on herbal teas. I like mixing herbal teas with like a mate or like a green tea. I usually will mix those. I usually don't do them by themselves.
Does a green tea ruin a fast?
Supposedly, I've watched two different things. I've
They
read
say,
some stuff on
I've
it.
read that it doesn't, but if it has caffeine, I would assume it does.
I would assume so.
Yeah, so supposedly anything that you consume that's not water just starts the enzymatic process of your system.
I would think so.
Anything.
I mean, there's also phytochemicals and
Yeah.
things like that in the
Well,
in
you still have
teas.
to, yeah, and that's definitely enzymes. If you talk
And so your body's gonna
phytochemicals.
have to break that down.
Oh man, for sure. So yeah, you can't even. You have
Yeah.
to fast with just water.
Yeah.
And I know, like, so John Berardi did that whole fasting thing I guess it was like 2 or 3 years ago now, and he was saying that he was drinking tea while he was fasting, still got all the same effects as far as he knows externally, saw a change in body fat, saw a change in how his
Maybe
performance.
just hormonally with specific hormones that true
Probably.
fasting might do. I'm
And it
sure.
might also
'Cause
be
there's probably
different
variations.
for everybody, because there is actually, I mean, it's actually been found that some people have a specific gene that allows them to break down caffeine more efficiently.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so
That's
if
true.
you yourself, like
It's
that
in my
might,
wellness report, 23andMe. I don't know what mine is. But
Yeah.
It's in there. I remember it's.
and everybody's different. So some people can break down caffeine more efficiently, and that's why with some people, coffee is actually beneficial for them because their body
That's
will
true.
blow through that caffeine and allow them to have access to everything
The
that's
people who have
good.
ADHD,
Mhm.
what's it? Coffee actually helps them focus. It works different for them, right?
And some people, caffeine works to reduce migraines. Like there's some people who have really bad migraines, and caffeine will help to reduce that. It just depends. It depends on how your body breaks it down. So, like, if your body can metabolize that caffeine really quickly, then I think you may not see very many differences in fasting and drinking teas or coffee. But if your body can't metabolize it fast enough, then you might not. I don't know. I think there needs to be more research on that. I'm
Yeah,
not
'cause
really
I've
sure.
I've seen it a couple different ways. Going back to the podcast, Rhonda Patrick talks about it with Joe Rogan, and she's like, anything consumed disrupts your enzymatic processes. And I was reading something that basically said that you can have tea, and this guy was doing tea, because he put tea in there, he put turmeric in there, and he put vinegar in there, and he was saying it doesn't disrupt the fast because there's really still no calories in it. There's still nothing in there.
Yeah,
But
but,
I was
see,
like-
I 100% take the side of Patrick because of
I
the
agree.
enzymatic process.
And that's what I say. It's not so much that that you're not really getting energy from it. You may not be getting energy from it, but your body still has to break it down.
Yeah.
Because some phytochemicals are attached to
Which is
other.
no longer a true fast.
Exactly. Because I mean, it happens with minerals and vitamins as well that. Some of them can be attached to like a phenyl group or whatever it is, and that your enzymes have to kick in to break them apart in order for it to be absorbed in your intestinal
Yeah,
tract.
so then.
So yes, consuming stuff, I think you're still going to get enzymatic action where it is enough for your body to break a fast. But you're not getting energy from it, so your body still needs to break down fat. So it's a question mark. Does it really affect? Does it not?
And it would be interesting to see, because I know when they talk about fasting and the autophagy of your cells and everything, I'm wondering if something like that affects that, because
I would have
cells. But what keeps the cells alive is the carbs, the sugars, the things like that. So if you're having caffeine, there's no assuming it's black and it's not. It's tea. It's
It's
whatever.
not a stimulant.
It's not. It should increase the wasting of those cells. I would assume.
Because it's, I see.
Yeah, because there's nothing
Yeah.
to feed that cell.
Dude, what? We should just send an email in to Rhonda Patrick.
Let's find out.
You know she'll answer us back.
Yeah.
I think that's a great question. It is a
All
very
right.
good question.
So based on my genetics, you are likely to drink less caffeine than average if you drink caffeine at all.
How much was that? Just out of curiosity.
$200, so worth it. Because I got on my ancestry, on my genetic. Hey, we all got it. We synced at the same time.
That's interesting.
That's hilarious.
Why is it not doing anything?
How your body handles caffeine. The first strain, CYP1A2, contains instructions for an enzyme that breaks down 95% of the caffeine you consume. It's on chromosome 15. The second gene, AHR, contains instructions for a protein that ramps up production of the CYP1A2 enzyme. Variants in these genes may affect how quickly the body breaks down and clears away caffeine. So, how does caffeine keep you awake? Oh, we know that. How does caffeine performance? How much is too much? Maximum healthy amount, 400 milligrams per day. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. It's like a solid cup of coffee. A little
Yeah,
bit more.
right. Cool. But yeah, no, I love it. It gives you your paternal group, maternal group, and tells you their migration patterns too. So, because they can figure all that out. Because every time someone's born, there's a genetic, mutation, polymorphism. So they can trace that back all the way through. And
Fascinating.
so, at 24,000 years ago, my common ancestor lived approximately 24,000 years ago in Asia. Isolated peoples of the frozen Siberian tundra and in Central Asia all the way across to the Ural Mountains. So that's pretty long. Now let's go to close, this one. Let's see. Cannon Beach, Oregon. That's the path they took. Oh yeah, so we were in Chile too. That's my mom's side. And then it tells you your paternal side, which that's where I find out I have a lot of European descent. I'm 52% Iberian.
See,
And
from
it
what I
shows you
understand,
those,
it's don't you get more information because you're a guy? That because
Yes.
I don't have the one.
Yes,
chromosome?
yes.
But
So
there's some information that I could not get.
you would be better off just having your brother do it,
Right. Okay.
and you would get everything, and that
Yeah.
would still count for you and your sister.
Interesting.
And same thing, your dad would be better off doing it. Your mom's brother, does she have a
Yeah.
brother? Yeah. So he would be better doing it for her and on their siblings.
That makes sense.
Yep.
That's interesting.
So I'm 60% European, and that breakdown is I'm 0.2% Irish, 1.6% Jewish, 22% Southern European, right? 30% Native American, 2% North African, 2% Sub-Saharan, and then there's 4.9 that was unassigned. But there's a little bit sub-1 Oceanian and things like that. It tells you. It's kind of cool, and as obviously more and more people are buying it, so their database is growing. So then they're constantly, you get emails saying, "Oh, we figured out this gene," and then I take the information from this, and I go to Rhonda Patrick's website, and you just sync it. It's a simple 5-10 minute process or 5-second, 10-second process, and then she tells you all your gene polymorphisms. And that's how I found out that vitamin E supplementation is bad for me. That's how I found out cooking my meats at high temperatures and really quickly is not the best for me. I'm prone to Alzheimer's and dementia because my BDNF isn't as active. My FTO gene, which I forgot what it affects, I have it on my laptop. But there's so many things that I'm whoa.
But I think it's stunning, and this is one thing that I absolutely love, is that this is where nutrition is going to be going. I mean, it's going to take years, but I mean that this is
Going that
where
route, genetics.
things are going. Is with nutritional epigenetics, with nutrigenomics, and all of that stuff. That our genome really does, and that's what they're finding out is that our genes really do dictate how we can eat,
That's
how
true.
food comes
so
back
true.
to us, and how we break things down. Like take caffeine for an example. I don't know, but I mean, if you can have a certain amount where your body can can
Yeah.
manage that. But there may be some people who are like, I drink coffee, but I feel bad. I'm like, well, you probably shouldn't be drinking
you might
it.
be one, yeah.
You might not have that.
Your
I
body
mean-
might do a terrible job getting rid of it.
And it's been stated too that nutrition with like pregnancy, because I'm taking nutrition through the lifespan right now, and we're kind of talking about like preconception, conception periods, and things like that. So when you said earlier that you want to have a kid, that your nutrition is so important. I mean, I know
We're gonna
that you
talk.
would be that you would be solid, but I mean, it's amazing how.
That's good. No, but I'm
Making
still
sure
gonna
that you
have
eat.
Heather meet with you because hearing it from me is not the same from hearing it from somebody else.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, just making sure that you are getting the right nutrients and things like that, so that your body. I mean, it is stunning how iron status makes a really big difference for women. Caffeine is one of the big. It's very new research, but caffeine is coming through as how it affects fertility. That a high intake, but I think if I remember correctly, it's only for women. That it doesn't really affect men.
I can't wait to tell Heather that. She's like a switch. When she finds out that that'll affect the chances, she'll be like, I don't need it.
I'll pull the
Okay.
information and I'll text it to you.
Please do.
But yes, if it like
That's
it's
nuts.
coming out
And
where
what about iron? So low levels of iron and
low
also
levels of iron
affects it.
increases the chance of being infertile. Because with women especially,
I got us a nutrient, a vitamin from Thorne that comes with extra iron and copper.
That's
on purpose,
fantastic.
Just because I was like, I had that same like. I'm so glad.
But
It's
it
so
makes
crazy how
sense.
life works. Somehow the universe
Yeah.
gives me something to like justify or like fact check it.
Exactly.
So cool. That's
but you
neat.
got to think about it in terms of like a woman. If you're getting pregnant, so with women getting pregnant, you have to understand you've got an extra body in your body. So with having that extra blood amount, that now that the baby has more blood, you need
no
more
shit.
iron.
That makes sense.
You cannot increase your iron stores when you're already pregnant. It is
Oh,
almost
it has to
impossible.
be.
It is almost
yeah.
impossible to increase
So,
your iron stores. You
At the
need
very
to
least,
have
3 months before.
yes, you need to have an increased amount of iron stored in your body because your fat cells will store your iron, and it gets locked away. And when your body needs it, it unlocks it. It's, oh, okay, here,
Yeah.
and it'll give it. But you literally are almost doubling your blood volume, and when you have more blood volume, you need more iron to be able to bring more oxygen and nutrients into for the baby and for the mother. So her iron stores need to be almost doubled.
Gotcha.
And so you do need to be taking more iron, bringing in more iron, not obscene amounts, but I mean you have to have more iron at least 3 months prior to conception.
Good.
Um,
Well, we started a month ago. Yeah, supplements started a month ago.
yeah, and then folate, of course, is another big thing. Having plenty of folate status
That's
is
right.
a big deal.
I heard about that one, and Rhonda Patrick talked about that.
But the reason
Spinach
being-
would help with that, right?
Absolutely. Is making sure that you're having plenty of folate. One of the biggest things is that the periconceptional period, which is literally like a month before conception, going into a month after conception,
Okay.
the baby grows so much. Like, I mean, everything almost immediately starts to
So-
develop. That the spinal cord and the brain are one of the first things to develop. That if you do not have proper folate in the diet, in that
This is so
periconceptional
cool.
period, that you have a significantly higher increase rate for spinal issues like spina bifida, neural tube defects without folate. But within that time period, there's
Yes,
been research done
that's
that
why it's so important.
once you find out that you're pregnant and then you increase the
too
folate,
late.
it's too late. You can sometimes nothing happens and that you're still nourishing the baby enough, but really everything develops within that really short time period before people even realize they're pregnant. And so if you're trying to get pregnant, if you're trying to want to have a baby, her folate status needs to be through the roof.
That's essentially what we were going to be doing.
And so
that's
folate
good.
is one of the biggest things.
Nice.
There's a lot of things that affect like fertility, like subfertility and things like that. But as far as like nutrition wise, that's some of the biggest things is
Yeah.
iron and folate.
That's
Are some
what-
of like the key
That's what she was saying.
having plenty of that stored and
That's
already
awesome.
taking more of that just in case, because if she gets pregnant and then doesn't realize she's pregnant,
Yeah.
at least during that time period she's already has enough of that stored and it's not
Yeah,
an issue.
absolutely.
That's one of the
I like
biggest
that.
things.
I like that.
That's crazy.
Summary,
Cool.
guys.
Summary, yeah.
So I know we talked a lot about habits. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
That was huge. I'm sure people. This is gonna be a good one.
I liked this one.
Summary of habits, kind of. What is it? When you get whatever habit you're trying to change, ask yourself when that urge comes. Whether it's snacking, we'll use that, right? That's what we used. Ask yourself questions: where you're at, who you're with, what time it is, and if you're bored, right? Or what your emotional state is. You could be happy, you could be excited, so you might want to celebrate with a snack. But so you use those 4 questions to identify, and you do that over the course of a few days to identify kind of patterns and behaviors that you're doing. And then from there, you can identify what the cue is, what the situation is, whether it's time or a specific person or boredom, right? And then we can start playing with substituting a better habit, right, or a better routine. And then there's the reward is still satisfaction of being bored or wanting to socialize with somebody or something like that. Right.
I like that. Yeah. So habits was a big thing we touched on. I think that was most of what we touched on.
Yeah.
Mild, like nutritional status, things like that.
Yeah, I like
But,
And then our challenge.
then our challenges.
So I'm going to make it a point to get to work 15 minutes early. So you got to see me at 6:45 tomorrow.
Yep.
That's when I'll be here, 6:45.
And I got to not hit
Fantastic.
snooze.
And not hit snooze.
Not hit
Tony will
snooze.
be here at 3 a.m.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, so my thing is, the reason why that's happening is I've realized that I have to start working out before work. So what'll end up happening is if I hit snooze, I get here too late and I'll have time to either swim or get in the sauna.
Gotcha.
So I need 15 to 20 minutes more. So I can either do both those things or lift and get in the sauna or so I can either do one or the other. So as long as I don't hit snooze, I have plenty of time. And even though I'm only snoozing once or twice, like I'll snooze, then I'll slowly decide to get out of bed, and then get to the bathroom.
Minutes are minutes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Especially
'cause
that early in the morning.
If you get up slow, you're getting, like, the first few minutes of getting dressed are slow.
Yeah.
It's
It's
kind
like
of
some days it's 10
Yeah.
minutes to get from the bed to the bathroom, and I'm like, how the heck did that happen?
It's amazing
Yeah.
because I'll grab my phone or like Poof will be laying on
time
me.
is nuts.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just petting Poof, and like next thing I know, it's like 15 minutes have passed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to leave. Like,
And then it's stress. Boom.
Yes.
And just like,
Other times
how?
I get dressed so fast, I'm like, oh, I have 20 minutes. And then I start slacking, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm late. It's like,
Yeah.
dang it, man.
Like that.
exactly. So don't hit snooze.
Don't
And
hit
then
snooze.
I am going to, what was my habit?
Healthy breakfast.
Healthy breakfast. That's right.
You're going
I'll-
shopping
I
after this.
remember. I am. Yes, we're going shopping after this. We're going to pick up some stuff for dinner.
So essentially, why we're doing this for you guys listening is, and this is what we want you to do too, is find something that makes you feel successful in the morning. Something you can, one of the first things you can do in the morning, and that should help us get the day going. We're more likely going to want to be successful the rest of the day.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and set a reminder.
Yeah, I love that too.
Set a reminder.
Yeah. And then communicate these habit changes, just to offset any potential spouse or significant other from being
That's
questioned.
true. Very true. Set expectations, or just when you have the conversations, the essential, the reason behind that is to explain your why, and that's what the benefit of having a sit down,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the mom.
Yeah, just letting them know, like having to sit down and tell David, like, please don't buy snacks. And if you do buy them for yourself, I will not feel bad. Or, I just want to get my stuff done when we get home, and then that way when I do sit on the couch, I don't feel guilty.
Absolutely.
And just be concise about it, because if you have a strange new habit that you're taking over, it's going to look like your whole personality changes. If your significant other watches or reads Cosmo or any of those other things, it flat out says in there, which actually, I didn't even think about this. This is a huge killer of habits, because in those like relationship magazines, if your spouse starts changing their habits suddenly, it's
Oh.
a sign they're cheating.
That's true.
That's such baloney.
I would agree.
I hate that.
I
I,
would
seriously
agree.
hate all of that stuff. It's so dumb.
But it doesn't matter.
And
I
then that's why
agree with
everybody
you.
has this like constant negative. It's
So
so
right.
frustrating.
It is.
That
That's
constant
so
negative of like, oh, why are you going to gym?
Uh-huh.
Why are you going to gym now?
Uh-huh.
Who are you seeing at the gym?
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop it.
But to offset that, though, so here's the truth of it. I worked with a lady who, for a while, her husband was coming to the gym every day. And I would see him every day. And then all of a sudden, he stopped coming to the gym randomly. And he was still telling her he was going to the gym, but he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why those things exist is because stuff like that happens, which I find absolute bull.
Yeah.
Because it's
stupid.
this much of it, whereas the other habit changing is life changing, cheating on your spouse.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like it does happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, it does happen, and that's horrible. And people who are like that are horrible individuals. Anyway, dumb.
yeah.
I'm sorry if you this is totally off subject, but if you can cheat on the person that you're with, you'll need to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
They do not satisfy you.
It's true.
They are not making you happy anymore. Leave them.
Break up with them.
Cry about it.
Yeah.
You're gonna hurt their feelings. If you cheat on them, you're gonna hurt their feelings. If you leave them, I'd rather you hurt their feelings because you left them
Yeah.
than being an
That hurt their feelings more.
ugly, horrible person by cheating on them. Don't do it.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
And don't read Cosmo. Or
don't read
anything.
Cosmo. I
You know
hate
what?
passing by those great ways to have sex, and I'm like,
That's hilarious.
and I'm like, why is that on the front cover? Like, children see this. Like,
Yeah.
people
That's true.
don't
Let's
need.
check it out.
But it's so. I mean, we could literally do a whole podcast on this. But sex is like the guiltiest pleasure that people have that they will never admit to, because like when you think about it, it's super taboo. You don't want to talk about it, and if you do want to talk about it, you're like the pervy person in the group.
Oh,
It's like, oh my god,
exactly.
you.
Why do you
what?
talk about that?
Yeah.
Everybody does it. Wah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, don't go
Yeah.
around talking about it all the time, but it's like,
Yeah.
don't act like it doesn't happen, and don't act like you don't do it. Stop
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, but we don't need to be advertising that nonsense on magazines and making it. It's social media. I feel like, again, this is totally off topic, but
Yeah.
I feel like social media and
But it's the end,
magazines.
it's okay to be off topic now.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And like, but magazines, social media, all of that stuff, like, makes it taboo as far as sex is concerned. But they make it almost weird to have
Well,
like desires.
they kind of like they urge it because
Yeah.
a lot of shit's all sexual, right?
Everything is sexualized.
But then actual sex itself is taboo. It's weird.
Well, and now it's getting even worse. So I was listening to, I think I told you, one of my clients, his son, they downloaded the consent app for
What is that?
exactly what it sounds like. So you and I go home, I have the app, you have to sign that we are about to do what we're about to do.
Oh.
Yeah, like there is a
There's
consent
an app for that?
Yes, there is, because so much stuff is happening now. Yeah, like so much random stuff is happening. There's a consent app, but there's also of course a huge mood killer with this because we're consenting to this. There's there's positions in the app that you are consenting to. So yeah.
But I mean, that also saves your butt because I mean, you do have, in terms of
Yeah. But if you didn't
legal
consent
stuff,
to it,
but-
so let's say that you are consenting to oral sex, and then you decide halfway through, you're like, I'm going for it. We're all in. I didn't sign the box, but you were the one who said you wanted. Yeah, but I didn't sign. I didn't check the box. So like, you can only go as far as the checked boxes are concerned.
Interesting.
No matter what the decision is after the fact, you can only go as far as those are concerned. Because that's what you've checked off on.
That's what you've consented
And
for.
it's a
That's
thing,
really
like
sad
it's
that we
going
need
through
to
college
have that.
campuses, like, because that's what people do. Like, I mean, it's not what people do in college, but
No, I mean, it's
You've had
because
those-
of the fact that it is prevalent in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
The fact that we need that is really sad.
mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But
And it's
but oh man, but just everything that happened on the news that
Mhm.
Larry Nassar,
Nassar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nassar.
like dude, that's
Disgusting
crazy.
people. Disgusting
But-
people.
And that's the thing, because it goes back to the same thing, the habit change. So many people are doing it for good reasons, for bad reasons. This is happening because bad things have happened. We need this kind of umbrella. And I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
right or wrong, but it's like, if I was still in college right now, I would have this app. I would literally be that guy who's like, hey,
But I think that's fair, though. I mean, to cover your butt, and then
Yeah.
on top of that, too. I mean, false claims for things are
Mhm.
reality. I mean, that can happen. I mean, there are women who go out and say this person raped me when you just ruined somebody's life. When it comes out and you come out years later being like, haha, I did it for whatever, and it's like you literally just ruined this person's
Yeah.
life. Like, that's not okay.
well, that was the Duke lacrosse team like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
The girl came out and she's like, yeah, no, I didn't want to do this. And these guys, I mean, literally came out with like text messages. They're like, it says right here she wants to do this. It says who she wants to do it with and everything else. And then they're like, and the lawyers for the lady were like, you press charges, but you actually have a paper trail that says the complete opposite. And she was like, I guess so.
And she also had some issues. Too,
Yeah, I
right?
mean-
like
But
she-
it's like, you know,
was-
if you make that decision, you have to, I mean, if you're going to make adult decisions,
Yeah.
doesn't matter how old you are, those are adult decisions. And if you're going to make adult decisions, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. Now, mind you, if you made no decisions, you are not able to consent.
Oh,
you
yeah.
are absolutely, you know, incapacitated. Brock Turner, was that what his name?
The dude with the
The
trash
dude
can.
behind the trash can. Obviously, that, you know, was horrible. This is not talking about situations in which you can't consent. But if
Yeah.
you are actually consenting, if you are deciding that you want to make that step, that you haven't done it before, and that's the step that you want to make, and then you go back and regret it, I'm sorry. You cannot go back and ruin somebody's life for a decision that you guys made together as adults. You can't do that. That's not okay.
Well, one of my clients put this to the best. She's 70 years old and 72 years old. And when all this stuff started coming out, she started asking some questions. And it was kind of weird at first because, you know, we've been training together forever. And she's like, you know, I'm 72, but when I was your age, when I was in my 20s, if it was like 11 o'clock at night and I was going to your place, I know what was happening. I'm not stupid. Like, if I voluntarily, as a grown woman, at 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, went to a man's house after a certain hour, or he came to my house after a certain hour, it was, you didn't need to say what was about to happen. The door closes, we know what happens. You know, you don't need to get into details. No one needs to, but there are certain unspoken things. You don't go to someone's house at midnight to play Monopoly. Like, you did not, and if that's, I mean, think it, that's...
Let's be real.
Yeah.
No.
She's like, you know what, if we were out in a public
I
place
feel like
and
you're
it's
gonna
like,
go over
hey,
to Netflix.
yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's Netflix and chill.
Netflix now, it was Blockbuster, then, hey, you know, I got a couple movies from Blockbuster, you want to come
Uh-huh.
over? You know what that translates to.
Yeah.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning, the bar just closed, do you want to come over? Does not mean we're going to make s'mores and chill. No. But that's where we are. That's as bad as it's gotten. And it's like, it's crazy.
And it's upsetting that so many people feel like they don't want to accept the decisions that they've made.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was a resident assistant for a year, and I was right in between, like, I went from spring, like pretty much like January to December, so I had 2 separate groups of kids. One resident that I had, she knocked on my door. She's a very, you know, beautiful young lady, very nice, very quiet. And she's like, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Sure, absolutely, no problem." I was like, do we need to go somewhere or anything? She's like, "No, we can just talk in here." Close my door. She sits down. She goes, "I lost my virginity last night." I was like, "Excuse me?" And I was like, "Okay."
I'm not your mom.
And it's amazing how many people treat you like your mother,
That's
like
true.
you are their mother. I had to teach so many kids how to, like, do their laundry. I'm like, all right, nope, you separate them. You did, People setting their microwaves on fire because they didn't know they were supposed to put water in their ramen. Boy, I cannot begin to explain how many adults do not
Or
teach
take
their kids how to do
oil
stuff.
paper.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, so she comes in and she's telling me, she was like this, and I was so floored that I'm like, first off, one, why are you telling me? And the first thing that came out of my mouth was, did you consent? That's what I asked, because that's what I was concerned. I'm like,
Yeah.
are you coming to me to tell me something that I should be concerned with?
Yeah.
She was like, I did. She said, there's nothing wrong with that. And she said, it's just, what do I do now? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? I don't know what you mean. She's like, it's not that it was bad, it's not that it was anything bad. She's like, but I'm officially not what I was the day before. She's like, I'm not a virgin anymore, and that's strange. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, yeah. And so I had a very long conversation with her, and we talked about it, and we kind of talked through it and everything like that. But it was like, if you decide to make those decisions, you really do need to stop and think in terms of, and this can go for anything, not just sexual,
Yeah.
anything. This can go to changing your life, to deciding to have cancer treatment, to deciding to anything. These are big adult decisions
Yeah.
that are going to change your life. You really need to sit down and don't rush through making that decision just because sex sounds fun. I know no kids probably ever watch this, so I don't know really why we're talking about this. But anyway,
I got my sisters watching.
oh hey, there you go.
But
it's like, I mean,
they
yeah,
rarely have sex. They're
Sex
all-
might be fun, and it's different
so
from
funny.
you all guys being men and like me being a woman. That just because it sounds fun or it sounds like exciting or exotic or different, that's a big decision to make. And now when you make that decision, I mean, when you go ahead and make that decision, you can't take that back.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, it's an extreme example with skydiving. you make that decision, you made the choice to go up there. Up until you jumped, you had the opportunity to back out.
Yeah.
You left the plane. You have to see this all the way through. If you treated every decision like that, if this is the precipice of my choice, and I walk through this door, or I decide to eat this food, or I decide to break up this relationship, or get married, or take a trip, up until the moment that the wheels leave the ground, or whatever it is, you have the opportunity to back out. If you treated every choice like that, I'd be curious to see how many choices you made and stuck to, how many big decisions you made, and how many whims that you didn't just go with. Because literally, you have the opportunity to back out until the decision's made. But once it's made, if you made it, again, we're assuming that you willfully made the choice to do whatever the next step is, live with it.
And accept it. I mean, the thing is that, you make decisions every day. And just accept the fact that you made a decision that is changing your life, however it might be. Whether you made that decision to get up and go to the gym, or you didn't. You accept it, and you make the changes accordingly the next day, or the next moment that you get to make that change. That's the biggest thing, is just accepting that once you make a decision, that decision has been made. That decision is in the past now. You're going to ride out whatever that decision, gives you, and then change accordingly. And that's, using your past experiences as, learning points, a guide to what not to do and what to do. I had that snack that I was like, no, I don't really feel that great. So for me, that's that guide to be like, I probably shouldn't want to crave that candy bar, because I know when I actually eat it, looking at it, it's pretty, I'm not going to feel good. And so that's a thing, is understanding, use your past experiences, use your decisions that you make to help to shape what you do and who you become as you go forward. That was a really weird tangent.
Yeah.
That was a really weird tangent.
All because of Cosmo.
All because of Cosmo.
I know,
Dude.
Cosmo.
It was because I was like, as I was thinking about it, I've seen it before, on Facebook it pops up too, signs of your significant other's cheating, signs of this. They suddenly change their habits.
That's always something that comes up.
Yeah, and you know what? I can see it. That is out of the ordinary. But using Katie as the example, I came home, I started cooking dinner. Think about what the habit is. I'm not going to come home and start cooking for someone I'm cheating on. It's not.
That's funny. You're right.
So wait. I'm going to make you breakfast. I'm going to cook your lunch for tomorrow, and I'm making you dinner right now. Because I'm cheating on you?
But it's because I'm seeing someone else on the other side. No,
So you're
that's
trying
not.
to trigger, bro.
Yeah, but
That's what's happening.
But it's true though. I mean, really pay attention. Don't just freak out just because somebody's doing something different.
Ask questions.
Ask.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're an
That's
adult.
why we set the expectation. That's why I set the
But
expectations.
that goes back to take ownership of your goal and what your habit's going to be, because you don't just avoid it. Because there's no to me it was what are you talking about? Because literally that's where the conversation went.
Oh my gosh.
It did. I'm like.
I love Katie. You're like, are you crazy?
Yeah. But take
tell Heather
ownership
she's
of
crazy.
it. It was literally this is what the habit is, this is what the habit looks like, and this is how you're perceiving the habit.
Yeah.
This is what it really is. Let's do you want to eat now? Because the food's ready. That's
But that comes down to trust as well. I mean, trusting the person that you're with, because there's times that David's he'll go and does his filming stuff, and he won't be home. Oops.
That's fine. Oh, and low
Whatever.
battery. Perfect timing.
Yay!
So it's all
Perfect
right.
timing.
Yeah.
But he'll be gone for maybe 2 or 3 hours longer than he said. But I know he's with Carbajal. We all know Carbajal, and Carbajal is a mess. And so it does. I know where he's at.
Yeah.
Because I trust that what he tells me is going to be the same. Or when his habits do change, I talk to him why are you doing that now?
Yeah.
Oh, because I just want to make sure that, because he started changing how he does dishes in the morning, and I've been asking him, I'm like, why don't you do dishes when you wake up, when you've got all this time in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wake you up. And I'm like,
You're not gonna wake me up.
I don't hear anything. I was like, do you ever see me move when you get up out of the bed? He'll sit and play on his phone in bed for ever. I don't move.
Yeah.
Because I am dead to the world. I don't move. I'm like, do you really think I'm going to hear you doing dishes? I said, if I can hear you doing dishes, you're dancing in there with dishes and banging them on each other. I'm like, I'm not going to hear it. And so his habits changed where he does the stuff in the morning or before he goes to bed. But it's just
Yeah.
But it's like,
Wants
but it's, you
house
know,
clean.
exactly, he wants a house clean for his significant other. But I mean, it comes down to trust, trusting the person that you're with. I trust David wholeheartedly that, you know, I would be incredibly, immensely surprised if anything like that ever happened. But I mean, I know who I'm with, and I trust everything that they do. You know, and it's just like it comes back to, you know, not second guessing the person that you're with. It's
Stay
really,
off social media.
and if you feel like you have to second guess the person that you're with, you might want to actually second guess the person that you're with.
Yeah.
Why are you with this person?
That's true.
That's true.
So, but anyway, yay, life
I love it.
goals
Dude,
and
that
stuff.
that was like super deep too.
Yeah.
That one got, that went nutrition, health, and then let's talk about life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. That
I
was
like
good.
that.
Well, now that our camera is dead, I think we actually need to cut this off, guys. Thank you very much for listening. This is
Yes.
Stephanie.
This is Anthony.
Isaac.
Thank
It's all good.
you guys very much. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, please feel free to put that in the comment box below. We'll be more than happy to send you any information you need. But we will keep you posted on how our challenges go through the next week.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Awesome. Bye.
Thanks for checking us out. If you like this, go ahead, like it, share it, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram.